What is up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Thursday, January the 15th. Another solid day in the markets here. Traded AMD towards the upside. Kind of talk about the trade. I really wanted that pre-market high retest. We'll hop into the charts here, of course, in a second. But super solid day in the markets, putting me up over $5,000 today, over $26,000 on the week, and for the month up over $50,000, which is absolutely fantastic. Really, ever since we've had that red day on Tuesday of last week, I've been trading very, very nicely. The markets are starting to heat up here. A lot of volatility, a lot of names on the tech side, a lot of semiconductors showing a lot of strength. So markets have been absolutely fantastic. Now let's go on to exactly the trade that I ended up taking today and what I was really looking for. So this is the exact trade I ended up taking today. Let me actually make myself smaller. I keep forgetting that, but as you can see, this is a trade I ended up taking today. This was on AMD. Really solid push towards upside right off the bat. It was one of our main watches coming into market open. I really wanted that pre-market high retest. I'll show you what I was looking for during this exact time. I kept on saying that pre-market high retest. I was a little bit distracted because I went on to NVIDIA. Ended up missing that solid retest off your pre-market high, but got in on the reclaim back above, looking for that continuation towards the upside just because higher time frame was still fairly bullish. So the entry model in this case was the reclaim back above that 234. But I ended up making $5,400 on this one. Now let's kind of go on to the game plan. What I was looking for coming into market open. Let's go on to the pre-market game plan. So coming into today, as you can see, I mentioned coming to the markets, we have a nice gap towards the upside. Markets above previous day highs now. SMH leading the markets higher with TSM earnings. What I like to see is pullback longs off the previous day highs. QQQ 624 and SPY 692. As for my main watches, I like AMD above previous day highs in 227. Google looks good as well, and I mentioned some other names that look good. So coming to market open, as I mentioned, right off the bat, we are fairly bullish. Let's go on to the QQQ. Let's go into the 15-minute time frame. So what was the reasoning for this gap up coming to market open? Right now, what we had was TSM earnings in the pre-market. So as you can see, TSM, really solid push in the pre-market, really leading all the semiconductors back towards the upside. So as you can see, SMH very bullish, well above your previous high that we created here on Tuesday. We're at all-time highs here on the SMH. We're gapping up about 3%. So I'm very bullish here on SMH. Well above your Tuesday's highs, as I mentioned. I'm looking for continuation towards the upside. So SMH is the semiconductor ETF. So all the semiconductors are part of the SMH. So coming to market open, SMH fairly bullish. Qs I'm fairly bullish on. We're above our 624. What I wanted to see was that pullback long that I talked about, right? Pullback long on Qs off that 624. We're actually bouncing off your 624 currently for that push up and towards your 629. As for the SPY, well above your previous day highs and your Tuesday's lows for SPY, either the bounce off of your 694 or that kind of pullback long. 692 is in play here as well. So coming to market open, I'm bullish on the SPY and Qs. As for AMD, let's go into this one. As you can see right off the bat, well above your previous day highs, we have some targets that we can gravitate towards, which is really this target that we had from last week. So for AMD, push towards the downside last week. We end up having a gap up with news here, fairly bullish. AMD, one of our main targets today, is at 234. So that's one of the key levels that we're looking for coming into market open. And as you can see right here, coming to market open, we are above your previous day highs. So we're above your previous day highs. Now what we're looking for is pullback longs up and towards that 234, either off your previous day highs or your 224. And now if we go into the lower time frames, you can see right off the bat, we actually end up having a really strong push higher. So kind of came back down, tested that 227 right off the bat. Now we're looking for that pre-market high retest for continuation. Within the very next candle, you have an immediate retest. And then you also have your target hit, which was that 234. So now what I'm looking for here, after this target has been met, I'm either looking for the break above 234 for continuation or the pre-market high retest to build up these higher lows for continuation towards the upside. So if you keep playing the tape, you can see very strong here on AMD, was not able to get above that 234. Buyers are somewhat stepping in. So a lot of people right here actually ended up taking this trade, right before your pre-market highs. And the reason why I didn't like this is because, number one, let's say you got in on this candle close, right? If you get in on an AMD for a low risk entry, right, that's fine, looking for continuation higher. But if you buy here, it doesn't make too much sense because AMD can very much well reject and come all the way back down and towards your pre-market lows. So that's exactly what happened. So it came back down, tapped our 234, and you can see buyers start stepping in here off of your pre-market lows. This would have been the best entry of the day. Right here, stop but just break underneath. You have that nice confirmation candle looking for high of day plus continuation back towards the upside. I'll show you the live session here in a second on why I was a little bit distracted. I really wanted this setup. We kind of kept on talking about the pre-market high here on AMD. Unfortunately, was not able to get your pre-market high entry. I opted in for the reclaim entry once it closed above with a very tight stop. Just a break underneath, now looking for this push back up and towards high of day, plus your 237. So entered in, scaled some up into this first initial push, and then end up holding the remaining for that 237. Which ultimately ended up hitting much later. But super solid, nice trade on AMD. Of course, the best trade of the day would have been, I'm not sure why it's not loading, would have been this pre-market high retest here on AMD. As for some other names, you also had NVIDIA off of your pre-market high here as well. So let's kind of go on to the live session. Let me pull this up and kind of explain the thought process on, and we'll get started, why I ended up missing that pre-market high retest and what I could have done better. So as you can see, coming to market open, kind of explaining the game plan. And then as you can see, AMD kind of buyer stepping in right off the bat. We talked about that 234, and then I kept on mentioning that pre-market high retest. So I draw at the level. Now I'm looking for that pre-market high retest on AMD or above our 234. You can see NVIDIA also as well, kind of off that 186.50s. But as you can see, during this time, I was actually a little bit distracted. So you can see right here, I'm already looking at this pre-market high retest here on AMD. But once it came up and kind of rejected off this level, I kind of took my eyes off AMD. So if we keep playing the tape here, let's kind of speed this up. And at the exact same time, NVIDIA was actually setting up here. So NVIDIA had that pre-market high retest for continuation. So I was a little bit distracted. Let's kind of keep speeding it up. So as you can see right here, during this exact moment, I'm keeping an eye on NVIDIA because we have that pre-market high break and retest, a lot of buyers stepping in. Now I'm looking for that 5-minute range high for continuation higher. I wasn't able to find an entry here on NVIDIA. And as you can see, right, I wasn't able to find a super solid entry on NVIDIA, and then I take my eyes off of AMD. So I kind of switch over to the SMH here. I take my eyes off of AMD because I actually thought it was going to reject off of your 234, and I thought it was going to end up potentially reversing, but I actually came back down to my level, which was that pre-market highs. So if you keep playing out the tape, NVIDIA, super solid push towards the upside. You had that immediate retest for 5-minute range high. SMH, first dip getting bought up. A lot of strength here above this key level. And as you can see, as this was happening and NVIDIA was pushing higher, AMD ended up retesting perfectly right off that pre-market high. And as I mentioned, I kind of took my eyes off of it. And this would have been the best entry of the day off that pre-market high. And then as it's coming back up now, I missed that low risk entry. So I'm just looking for that reclaim back above your 234 here. So as now QS is coming up, AMD is fairly bullish here on the higher time frames. Basically getting above your 234 on this reclaim, looking for this continuation higher. And as you can see, as we speed it up, nice kind of push right off the bat. And eventually I kind of switch over the screen. SMH still holding above our 401 pre-market highs, and then AMD eventually gravitated up and towards our higher time frame objectives. Took a little bit longer, but hit one of our key levels, 237. So that was the trade for the day. that was kind of the thought process coming into today. As I mentioned, the pre-market high retest would have been absolutely fantastic. I know a lot of you guys captured that one. Nvidia was super solid. You had a couple other names here as well. But yeah, that's about it for me today. Quick little recap for you guys. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And I will see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Peace.